Well, I met my dad 58 years ago, back in September. I kind of met him again about 10 years ago in 2008, or actually, a couple years before that. Before he had his big heart attack, when I decided to get in the oil business full time. And I was trying to buy this little company in Dallas, and he was helping me. I didn't know what the crap I was doing. I knew a little bit, and he probably has still forgotten more than I know. But I was talking to him about this little company and so on and so forth, and then he had this big heart attack, and I came out here, and I was trying to negotiate the deal, and I called the guys in Dallas and said, hey, I saw, told them what happened to my dad, and they said, okay, we'll give you another couple of weeks to get your stuff together, and I got it together, and spent a ton of time with him the last 10 years. We spent, one of my fondest memories is we spent 2 weeks in McAllen together. We stayed at a cool little hotel down there, had breakfast every day, went to the little field, and that's where Daddy lived.
Just where Daddy lived.
But anyway, a lot of old stories, obviously. I remember, college, I used to, I didn't talk to him all that much, growing up because he was busy working. He was traveling all over the world, and we didn't live together a lot of times, but, people love in different ways, and sometimes you may not feel like somebody loves you, but later on you find out he does,
How he loved everybody and how he loved life, and how he showed it for most people through his cooking. Because that was the one thing he loved to do, was to cook for everybody, and that was a way that he could show and express his love. So when you had a chance to sit down and eat his meals, you got a sense of who he was and how special he was and what he thought of you. And as for myself, aside from that, the one thing that I truly enjoyed with my dad was being here these last years, was just working on this house. And all the skills and the knowledge that he has just as an engineer, and all the fun times we had trying to figure out how to re-engineer this house to move stuff around without having it collapse around us. Because we always wanted to add a few things, but then we're like, well, we're not sure this is going to actually work if we take this wall out. Is it going to stay up? So as you sit there and spend time with everybody here, and you talk and you chat, you can see and you can remember exactly how special he was by way of how he touched everybody and what he left behind, and how the world and our family is so much better for him being here and doing what he did.
Living life big and caring about your family, and again, everybody being together here today. If I understand correctly, it's the first time that all the grandkids and all the kids are here together for a long time, and we're thankful obviously to be here too. It's been way too long, and family's obviously super important. I was talking to Steven yesterday, and we were talking about just some memories and things like that, but going back in years and years and years, every time I saw him, the people in my life that could call me Jeffrey, Auntie Jane, Uncle Bob, and my mom, but that's when I was in trouble. So, but it was always, enough. But it was Mr. Jeffrey and it was Whale Jeffrey, and that's just what I remember. And those are the 3 times. But it didn't matter. And all the different times I saw it, he was so engaged. It didn't matter how busy he was, what he was doing, whether it be getting together for, whether it be a funeral or whether it be a family get together, he was always engaged.
I know you write quite a lot when you're editor of a magazine, but what I've heard today is he's written memories on everybody's heart in his family. I mean, what a granddad to make tapas and do all those things. I mean, I had a mom who didn't even let me in the kitchen. That is so sweet. Thank you. Everyone has shared some memory that's been written on their heart.
I remember when I was much, much younger, right in that kitchen, the favorite dish that I used to make with him was chicken cordon bleu. And we'd sit there all day, and he'd go to the grocery store and buy way too much food. And he'd come back, and we'd spend all day, and just the giddy excitement that just was on him every time he got to cook. It just really, really made me happy too. And we used to sit there and we would pound the chicken with mallets, and he would tell me jokes, and I was his little sous chef, and we would spend all day in the kitchen cooking together. And those are some of my favorite memories.
One of the things I've always taken away from him that I remember is the fact that he did always live his life very big. It was always kind of, like my mom was saying, break some rules, do what you want to do, live your life to the fullest, and at the end of the day, sit down, have something to drink, and have some food. And it actually, looking back at it now, maybe inspired me more than I actually can put my finger on.
I think he probably did really well. As I remember, the pursuit of engagement and marriage was quite a dating game, actually. And the cool thing about being the priest at the church was when you saw them sitting together on Sunday morning, that was a date too. There was so much love and so much joy. Just them together. It was beautiful to see. And we missed that. All of us missed that.
When I look back and remember my grandfather, you just, like Steve said, and like everyone said, you never know when someone's going to be gone. And when you look back and remember them, you want to remember the fond memories. And I look back and I remember nothing but fond memories. I can't think of one bad memory that I have of him, no matter how hard I try. He was just an amazing, amazing guy, and he really, really touched my life. And before we came on this trip, my mom was telling me about how right before I was born, he had a really big heart attack, and how she just sat there and prayed that I would get to know him, and that I would actually be around to, see him and meet him and have him as my grandfather. And, I mean, he just passed away last September, and I'm 17 now. I mean, he lived way longer than anyone thought he could. He was one stubborn old bastard. Yeah, I remember he never did anything unless he wanted to, and doctors said you're not going to live, and he's like, oh yeah, watch.
Now, this is one of those things that you think about doing. Well, I thought about doing this for decades because I thought I'd have to do it 20 years ago and 10 years ago, and I'm thankful that it didn't happen then. But anyway, it's part of life, as Dad used to say. It's part of life. And I had a good friend of mine that passed away a couple of years ago, and right before he did, actually like a year before he died. He had one of Dad's episodes where you thought he was going to, thought that was going to be the end, and I was talking to him and he said, hey Bob, he said, he said something's got to die so someone else can live. So it's just part of life the way it works. And so that's stuck in me for a few years, and still not, we always want an extra, year, a month, or day, or hour, or whatever. But I mean, we're thankful we got all the time we did. Like he loved his family fiercely. Everyone may not have felt it all the time, but he did. And I was stubborn. It took me a couple of decades to figure out when he was kicking in the butt, it was because he loved me. He was trying to help me, not because he was bad. Something I was doing. Dad, and like I said before, we're grateful, and I'm glad that my kids had a chance to make him spend some time with them, especially the last several years. Because as I've said for years, you don't know when tomorrow, when the last day is, and so I'm thankful we've all had all the time we've had together over the years. About a week before, in early September, I was in Dallas, and a friend of mine's father passed away. Went to the funeral. And one of the things he said is, I don't have any unfinished business with my dad. I miss him like crazy, but it's okay. I'll be forever, so I'm very thankful for what I had and what we all had.
You had a lot of good times with your dad. And he loved reliving his early years in the oil field and the oil patch. He was a geologist, and he had so much fun going out on Bobby's rigs. And he'd call me and I'd say, oh, please tell me you didn't go up to the top of the rig. No, I stayed on the ground, but I told them what to do when they got up. He and Bob got to be really, really close these last years because he was able to live vicariously through Bob and his so he was a lucky guy, and he loved what Bob did. So Bob will miss him for sure because he doesn't have his guru to tell him about the oil business. If you're in the oil business, I think you're crazy.